We'd like to welcome everyone to our January webinar. We'll be discussing our compliance program for 2016 today. And right now I wanted to just bring over our Healthcare Compliance Pros website so that you can see what it looks like when you first log in. Some of you may be very new to the program and are not familiar with how to log into the website, so I'm going to take just a moment and review that. So you'll go to healthcarecompliancepros.com, or you can simply type in hcp.md. Once you get to this point, you'll want to click the blue login. And once you log into the system, let me pull up the regular website, and this is what you'll be seeing. So again, as a review, you'll have your accounts on the left-hand side and the offices on the right. Today we'll be starting in My Accounts because we're going to be discussing how to organize your program for 2016. Again, if you ever need to update your profile, you would do that by clicking on your profile here in the top right-hand corner. And also as a review, if you ever need to watch a tutorial video about any part of the program, you would do so by clicking on the question mark in the circle on the gray ribbon. Now I'm going to jump into My Account. And the first thing you notice when we open up the account is that we've got the default tab is the modules. Of course, this is where you customize your training. And just as a quick overview, because some of you are new to managing the program, I wanted to take just a couple of minutes and review how to customize your training. So we'll use this HIPAA privacy course as an example. You will notice when you log in to the course, this is the back side of the training, so your employees will never see this. This is simply something that you see as a manager of the program. But you'll notice that there are boxes next to each of the slide titles. Some of them will have check marks in them. If there's a check mark, that indicates that you have actually put some customization in that slide. So you would go ahead and put whatever customization you need for that slide and then save the settings. And then that information appears in the slide for that course. You can also choose to upload pictures. So if you wanted to upload the picture of your compliance officer, you would just take a picture maybe with your smartphone, save it as a JPEG to your computer, and then upload the file and it would appear here. So for example, if you were looking at a slide that had customization as far as a stock photo in the slide, you can go ahead and customize that and choose a different picture if you would prefer to have something different there. So if you have, let's jump into our OSHA course because that's a good example. If you wanted to take a picture of the location of your OSHA poster, you could just go into your break room or wherever you have that posted, take the picture and then choose the file and upload it, and then it would actually show your employees where that poster was located in your organization. So that is a quick overview of how to customize the training, and I'm available at any time to help you if you want additional help in customizing your training. We can help you with everything from hyperlinking to existing PowerPoint presentations that you have so that you can track participation in that sort of training if you have training that you've created specifically for your organization. We can offer you blank modules that you can then build that training into the HCP program to support any training that you offer for your staff, whether it's clinical training or compliance training. So this time we're going to go into the major part of our presentation today. Today we are discussing the items that you need to be prepared for in the upcoming year. And I will let you know that on February 17th, we are hosting a roundtable webinar where we're discussing in detail all of the changes that will be happening in 2016 as far as your OSHA program and your HIPAA program and the other, even some HR changes. So we'll be discussing things like the fact that the OSHA penalties are going up, some changes with the OSHA 300 reporting. You're probably familiar with the OSHA Globally Harmonized System that it's activating this year, and that has to do with managing your material safety data sheets. All in all, there are over 30 regulatory actions at various stages of rulemaking processes for OSHA in 2016. So there's some big changes coming down the road. There are also a lot of changes for HIPAA. And so we want to make sure that you participate in that webinar on the 17th of February to get some in-depth information as to what is going on with all of those changes and how it will affect you in your practice. Today, what I'm going to do is help you get some tools set up so that you can be prepared to manage those changes as they come into being during 2016. And the way we're going to do that is just take a moment to go into our Reminders Hub. And again, we access this. Let me go back to the beginning. It's been a minute. So you log in, you go into My Accounts, and then you go to the Reminders Hub right here. And once you click on the Reminders Hub, you'll see a couple of different things. You'll see account reminders and then your various offices. If you just have one office, you'll just have one drop down here. And that drop down tells you how often you're sending invitations to your staff to take their training if they're past due. Obviously, they won't receive an invitation if their training is not past due. It also offers a training report that tells you who is past due, and you can set that up to be received monthly or however often you want. But today, the thing that we really wanted to focus on, excuse me, is our custom reminders. And so I'm going to open up the custom reminders that I've set up for this account. You can see that there are quite a few of them. And let me just review what these custom reminders would mean to you in your practice. If you were to use these custom reminders, they would be going out to you as administrative staff. So whoever is managing your OSHA program or your HIPAA program or your corporate compliance or your HR program. These custom reminders for your account are reminders for you to participate in certain tasks and meetings during the year that will help you to manage your compliance program. So let's just review the ones that I have created as an example. And let me tell you that at the end of this webinar, if you're interested in just receiving some information about what these are that I've created, maybe just get a screenshot of the ones that we used as a suggestion, go ahead and just send us a support email and we can give you just a screenshot of these suggested. So the first one that I've created is just a reminder. Some of you might be very new to using the program, and so this one is an email that would go out to all of your staff introducing Healthcare Compliance Pros training.
On the side, lateral was a side view.
And here's a preview of the email, and it is just an introduction of Healthcare Compliance Pros. Very basic, but it's something that you could use if it was if you're ready to introduce the training or want to reintroduce your staff members to the training. So we'll just review this quickly. It's just saying that beginning in whatever time frame, you'll be receiving emails to participate in your training. Then it gives some login information. It also tells you that these staff members, that they will either be able to log in directly or that they can just use the hyperlink. And you're probably all familiar with the hyperlink in the training. They just click and it takes them right to their training, so they don't even have to log in. So this is an example of one of the ways that you can use the custom reminders. Now, the second one that I wanted to review is your compliance committee meeting. The compliance committee meeting is something that we suggest that you hold on a quarterly basis, and it could be in conjunction with a regular management meeting that you're holding. But just make sure that you have some compliance agenda items, and those agenda items will be these items down below. Again, it's an email that just goes out to a suggested group of people, so you can use the per user filtering and say you just want maybe these 3 people to participate or to receive this email. So now when we look at the queue, we've got these 3 people will be receiving a reminder that it's time to host the quarterly compliance committee meeting. And again, you can customize it. There's just a kind of a place marker email. It just is saying it's time to conduct your compliance committee meeting if you haven't already. But please feel free to customize the content within any of these reminders. These that we've got set up that are already, let me just show you. So several of these are, oops, let me back up one. Several of these reminders are already developed for you, and so you just need to come over here to New Custom Reminder and go to this template drop down, and you can see there's probably 10 custom reminders already built for you. So basically, all you have to do is turn them on. But as I've created several of them already in this office, let me just show you how they're working. So that is the second one, the Compliance Committee meeting. The third is we would suggest that you set a reminder for yourselves to review the meaningful use measures and objectives, especially as stage 2 is coming online. Depending on where you are in your meaningful use, you will want to obviously review that progress and your reporting, at least on a quarterly basis. You can reach out to HCP for support in that process, but this is just a quick reminder to the management team, whoever will be working on meaningful use, that you continually need to be working on reporting those measures, on those measures and objectives. The next one is the OSHA Hazard Risk Assessment. So I want to let you know that we have 3 parts of OSHA that you can be reminded of on a semi-annual or perhaps an annual basis. The OSHA Hazard Risk Assessment, I'm just going to go into your office and show you that OSHA Hazard Risk Assessment right now. It's right here in your Tools and Assessments, and this assessment records the PPE, the personal protective equipment, that your staff members may be using in a specific area of your practice or with specific tools and chemicals and gases. So you would read the bit of a tutorial over here on the left, look at the question, document what kind of PPE you'll be using, and then you can put in as much of a comment here as you'd like to, whether it's just a directive as to maybe you're short on supply and you need to visit with the person who orders, make sure that they are getting those orders in so that you've got sufficient PPE, or just whatever comment you'd like, and then go ahead and save and continue. When you complete the entire OSHA Hazard Risk Assessment, it will give you a historical date version of each time you've completed it. You can print the report at any time. You can print it off even before you've answered the questions, just as an idea of what you'll be looking at. But it's nice to have a printed version of what you've completed. So again, that's the OSHA Hazard Risk Assessment, and OSHA would like you to complete that on an annual basis. So now I'm jumping back over to the Reminders Hub. We're going to go again to those custom reminders. The second custom reminder for OSHA is the OSHA self-inspection. The OSHA self-inspection is where you or a clinical employee would take a laptop or a tablet around your actual physical building and look at what's going on with your OSHA. Let's just hop into it so I can show you. So it's going to be asking you questions about your environment as far as whether it's clean and safe and secure, everything from overloaded filing cabinets to the required posters, tripping hazards, etc. It even goes into your bloodborne pathogen standards and your hazard communication. So this is something that you would want to complete at least annually. Most of our clinical people who are using this are doing it quarterly, just because they might find an infraction and want to just go through and check on, maybe do a surprise check in a particular department to see if perhaps they've complied since they last went through and participated in this OSHA self-inspection. Again, it's the same as the other assessment that I was just showing you. There will be a history. It is printable. And of course, you would just complete the entire assessment and then finish it. Let's jump back over to our account again and look at the next item in our Reminders Hub. So again, we're looking at OSHA. The OSHA Hazard Risk Assessment is part of everyone's program. So that assessment that had to do with personal protective equipment. The OSHA self-inspection and the SDS binder are part of what we call OSHA Plus. Many of you probably already have OSHA Plus, but if you do not have access to that OSHA self-inspection when you go into your office, or if you do not see this tab right here that says SDS binder, then you do not have that function activated, and you can talk to us at HCP if you would like to participate in those tools and assessments as well. So again, we're suggesting that on a semi-annual basis, you review your SDS binder. Now let's just talk about that for a minute, because you're probably familiar with the globally harmonized system that's coming online, where all of the old format material safety data sheets are now being required by the manufacturer to be updated to the safety data sheet format. So we're doing that for you. If you are not having us perform this for you, you will, be responsible to look through your existing physical binder of material safety data sheets and then reach out to the manufacturer to request an updated version. Now, all of the manufacturers were required to update to this SDS version last year. Some of them didn't quite make it. In fact, many of them have not updated yet. But as they do update, we are going into our existing database, and let me just show you what the database looks like. It's thousands of safety data sheets. So let's just say you are using this Alcare Plus foamed alcohol in your practice. You would just add that to your binder. You can see that it's an SDS and it was last updated in 2015. And then if there was an incident, you as managers and everyone in your staff will have access to the database, and they can just click on that item and it will upload the PDF. So if you do need to do any first aid measures, if you have had an incident, then you can open this up and know exactly what to do immediately. So of course, I would suggest that you participate in using this tool. I think it's an amazing tool for you simply because it's available to anyone in your staff. It's not locked in a nurse's cabinet somewhere. And you know that we are constantly updating to the SDS format for you. So keep that in mind as a tool that is available. And again, that's one of the reminders that we've set up for the year because we feel like updating that safety data sheet database is very important, especially as those changes come into effect with the globally harmonized system. So if you were using our tool, you could just keep checking back in and see which of those sheets had been updated to the SDS. If you then wanted to print them off and have that updated version for a physical binder for some reason, you could then do that as well. So now we've talked about the 3 reminders that we suggest for OSHA to make sure that your OSHA year is planned out well. Now we're going to be talking about your HIPAA program for just a moment. Now, one of the main parts of the HIPAA security program is this security risk analysis. However, in preparation for completing a security risk analysis, we suggest that you perform a HIPAA walkthrough. Now, the HIPAA walkthrough is part of HIPAA Plus, and some of you may already be using that program. If not, obviously you can opt into HIPAA Plus as well. But know that the security risk analysis is part of your basic program. Everyone has access to that. So you have that basic SRA that's self-guided. If you would like additional help, we do offer an additional level of service with the security risk analysis, which includes an enhanced version where you actually have a summary of everything that the HIPAA professional that reviews your SRA, you have that summary document, and also a corrective action plan. So let's say you have all of the Plus services and you are going to start working on your HIPAA program on 4/1. You'll receive this reminder, and it's going to be to complete your HIPAA walkthrough. And again, you'll want to go into the filters, choose which users. In this case, we're saying that Michelle and Jerry are our HIPAA officers, so they're on our HIPAA team. And so they're going to complete this, and you can customize the content. This simply says perform the walkthrough, but you can customize it and tell them exactly what you want them to do. Obviously, you can change the users. You can change the time that it goes out. You may want them to perform this more than once a year. Let me come back in here again. So that's the HIPAA walkthrough, and let's just jump into the office so I can show you what the walkthrough looks like. It's just like the OSHA self-inspection. We'll just let the computer catch up with us. Here we go. So we're looking at the HIPAA virtual walkthrough. Again, it's in your office under Tools and Assessments. Only instead of looking at your physical environment for OSHA infractions, you'll now be looking for privacy and security issues. Things as simple as seeing PHI in wastebaskets, or perhaps unsecured PHI in use. So if you're observing the workstations as you go through your practice, do you see any documents with PHI visible? Do you have a biller or a coder in the back that's gone on break and they have not covered up or turned over or locked up their PHI from the files that they're working on from those documents that they use? So this is a really great process to prepare you for your security risk analysis, because you'll know exactly what sort of problems that you have with HIPAA after you complete the virtual walkthrough. Again, it's printable and just like the OSHA program. So, and I know we're jumping around a lot today. I hope I'm not making anybody dizzy, but we're going back over to the Reminders Hub again. And we're going to look at those custom reminders. So now we've performed the HIPAA virtual walkthrough. You'll notice that on that same date, and you can change the dates if you don't want to perform a review of your breach logs on 4/1, you can say, well, I don't want to do that until 4/15, and then you can just change that to 4/15, and the semi-annual frequency, the reminder cycle, remains the same, but you've now changed the next send date. So let me say we want to do this quarterly. If I were to change that to quarterly, it would move it back to 4/1. If I wanted to do it annually, it would move it back to the next year. So we're going to keep it at quarterly. Only we're going to change the next send date to 4/15. And again, this is reviewing your breach log. The breach log, again, is part of the HIPAA Plus program, and it's located right over here on the left-hand side on the account level tabs. And anytime you have a breach, whether it's a small breach or a large breach, we suggest that you fill out this form. A small breach would be, an example of a small breach would be if let's say someone at the front desk hands a report to the wrong patient, and that patient opens the report and sees another patient's PHI. That would be an example of a small breach. A large breach would be if your system was hacked, or if a physician was traveling and had a laptop that had patient PHI on it and it was stolen. So any type of breach, whether it's because of negligence or because of someone hacking into your system, would be logged here. And it's pretty much a fill-in-the-blank sort of form. You just put in all of the information for the breach, and once you get these check marks done, then you can actually describe the breach. If you have, at that point, you would submit it, and a HIPAA professional will review that and go through a breach determination and then mitigation process with you, helping you to know exactly what to do to mitigate the breach within your practice, whether you have to put notes in files, if you need to have that person who is involved in the breach retake their HIPAA training, notices of the breach to individuals or to the media if that's needed. And then once the breach has been mitigated, there will be a paragraph here as to what you did. So then you have an archived record of not only did you recognize that you had a breach, but you actually were proactive and you took care of it. If you were ever audited, that is something that an auditor would ask to see, is your breach logs and what you did to mitigate those breaches. So again, that's part of HIPAA Plus. Some of you may have that, others may not. If you are keeping a breach log in your practice and managing it on your own, that's great. We just want you to know that that service is available if you'd like HCP to handle that for you. All right, let's go back and look at what other things we're going to schedule during the year. So we're, again, in HIPAA. We've talked about the HIPAA walkthrough. We've talked about reviewing the breach log. The big thing for HIPAA is the security risk analysis. And again, just to review, you can decide who you want these to go to. You can customize the email to say whatever you want it to say to the people who are receiving it. You can preview the email to make sure that you're happy with what it's saying. Now you'll notice that it's coming from Healthcare Compliance Pros. So for any of these reminders, if you want it to come from yourself, you could just you know, no, I can't even type today. There we go. So if you put your own closing, then when you preview, you'll notice that it comes from you and not from Healthcare Compliance Pros. So you might want to keep that in mind on these invitations to perform different tasks during the year, that you might want it to come from you as the office manager or the HR department or whoever that would be coming from. You would want to put in your own closing on those emails. Okay, so we're talking about the security risk analysis. We're going to hop back over to the office. We'll go back into our main location, and again, this assessment is in the Tools and Assessments area in your office, and here's the security risk analysis. Now remember that everyone has a security risk analysis. This is a self-guided risk analysis, and being self-guided, you just open it up and start documenting your information and putting the note. And you will want to put a note. If you do not put a note, you'll see that it's yellow. So this question has been answered, but there's no note there, so it's yellow, meaning it's a medium risk. If you want to have all green, then obviously you would put the note and you would put, you would answer the question and put the note. So let's look at specific training. Are your HIPAA policies and procedures specific to your organization? You're going to say yes, because you have customized your training with your policies and procedures through Healthcare Compliance Pros. And the note here is we've edited the HCP modules. So again, when we first started this meeting today, we talked about editing your modules and making sure that you had put your customization in the required fields. Now let me show you an example of a course that is not customized. If you log into your program, we're going a little bit long today, but I just wanted to finish up with a couple of things. So if you log into your program and you see next to one of your account modules the word setup, that means that that particular course has not been customized with your particular policies and procedures. So you would click on the course and you would find the slide with the red box. When you find the slides with the red box, those are the ones that require customization per federal law. I don't know if you can see this, it's really tiny, but it just says under federal law, organizations are required to retain HIPAA records for a certain amount of time. And then you would just put your information here, what you are currently doing. So please keep that in mind, that that's an important part of your program, is making sure that all of those setups are gone, that you just have course titles with no red alert here. All right, we're going to go back into the Reminders Hub one last time. We're going to finish up our webinar for the day. We've got a couple of, if I can get my computer to kick in. Here we go. All right, so the last few custom reminders are just letting you know that you can use this system for more than compliance. If you have a party that's coming up or a employee meeting of some sort, you can use this system, these custom reminders, to send out to everyone. So if you want to send it out to more than one person, or you can actually send it out to your entire staff, depending on the invitation that you're creating. So again, we would love to help you work through this process, making sure that you have all of the reminders set up for your practice. If you have any interest in receiving a list of the suggested reminders and how often they should go out and who they should go out to, please just write a quick email to support@hcp.md. Otherwise, if you want to just go ahead and build this on your own, please remember you can go into New Custom Reminder, and then we have all of these templates already built for you. So for example, the security risk analysis, you would just create it, say who you wanted it to go to. I've enabled the per user filtering, so I'm just going to have it go to these three people. Then I'm going into the Customize tab, customizing the email, setting the closing, saving for the office, and then once I've done that, I can go back out to my entire list of reminders, and I'll see this new one that I've just created. It will say that it's going out never, So you just click the reminder cycle, how often you want that to go out, and it'll create the date, and you can just sit back and relax knowing that it will remind you of these very important things that you need to be completing on an annual basis. Now, at the beginning of the webinar, I mentioned the reason we were doing this today is to prepare you for the webinar in February. We want you to make sure that you go in and create your custom reminders so that your calendar for the year is all set up, so that you know that you're going to be reminded to do these very important tasks and participate in the meetings, host the compliance committee meeting, etc., in preparation for all of the changes that are coming up in 2016 for your compliance program. So please remember there will be major changes in OSHA, HIPAA, CMS, fraud, waste, and abuse, and HR this year, and we will discuss all of those in the February roundtable discussion. So please plan to join us on the 17th. I would like to finish up by just thanking everyone for participating today. I do not see any chat questions, but at this time, I know I've talked to you several times during the call and said please mute your lines, but at this time, if you would like to unmute your lines and ask any questions, I would be happy to help you. And if no questions come up, again, thanks for joining today. It's been a pleasure visiting with you, and we'll talk to you in February. Thanks so much.